let's take a look. No Prot Paladin from Echo. They are sticking to that Prot Warrior full melee physical damage comp, as Incarnation has Dorky on that Prot Paladin, and of course we have that Arms Warrior as well on Cryptics. Both of them doing a pretty big pull at the start, pulling a bunch of ads on top of the boss. Looks like Echo did only pull that Bloodhorn though, while Incarnation did pull the rest of the trash too, if I'm not mistaken.
And man, it's just so crazy to me that Incarnation have kind of converged on this Arms Warrior pick, which is such a strong pick in this dungeon in particular. The overall damage it can put out is so strong. And I mean, you can see across the board it's going to be a little different because Incarnation did pull more trash like you mentioned, but it's because they have the option of going for that massive AoE burst with the comp they run. Now, there are still distinct advantages in Echo's comp. They will have much better focus damage with that sub-rogue on their squad, but should Incarnation choose to go for much bigger pulls, which I would guess they'd be going for since they do have a potential extremely fast time, a minute faster than we've seen this weekend, they have the comp to run it. This massive AoE blitz down that they have with the Hunter, Warrior, Monk combo is insane.
Yeah, definitely a really cool strat coming out of Incarnation. Echo seemingly having more boss damage though. Keep in mind they also pulled a little bit less trash, so they were able to focus the bosses quite a bit more. They're gonna have to make up for their trash somewhere else unless they choose to pull the trash into the last boss at the very end. We'll see what their strategy is, as they're now Incarnation getting down the boss too. Only a 6 seconds differential between the two teams, even though Incarnation did get those 5% extra trash. So I would say 6 seconds extra to get 5% more trash, definitely worth it.
Yeah, and I mean, it's important to mention as well, Incarnation's comp kind of lends them to let them do big more pulls, especially considering the necrotic affix, right? 2 Paladins, I mean, twice as much necrotic removal, right? Not to mention that Dorky is also playing Kyrian, so he has that file to remove necrotic stacks. There's just so many tools that they have to go big back to back and make sure necrotic is not an issue whatsoever. And this is one of the things that they can do on necrotic that Echo is going to have a tough time doing. They can opt to pull these Shackled Souls into Execution of Varuth and have their tank not worry about taking 2 minute necrotic stacks. Yes, those are going to stack up, but they have so many tools available to remove them.
Yeah, it looks like this is a crazy pull, but it took them actually quite a long time to get Varuth into those Shackled Souls. Echo is already done with Varuth now, so they're going to be able to gather up the next pull quicker, but they're going to have to make up for those Shackled Souls that Incarnation is dealing with while fighting Varuth here. And one more thing to note is that Prot Paladin is actually really good at helping with off-healing. So having that Holy Paladin, whenever you're down on cooldowns, whenever you don't have that Ashen ready, then the Prot Paladin, Dorky, can help out so much with healing. And we saw Dorky actually out-heal Yuumi on that Holy Paladin on that pull just now. So definitely lots of utility coming out of the Prot Pala. Echo now gathering up that Incinerator with the Portal Guardian and all of those Shackled Souls that they still had to do from the previous pull. Incarnation doing the same thing, just needing to do a little bit less Shackled Souls because of that pull earlier.
Yeah, I mean, it looks really good for Incarnation right now, right? They're pretty much on the same pull at the same state of the dungeon as Echo, but they just have roughly 8 to 9% extra trash percentage on the board. And as we know from them running this dungeon earlier this week, the entire reason behind having that extra 8% or so trash is purely so they can skip one of the mini-bosses in the Duelist Quarter, saving them a ton of time over the course of the dungeon. I mean, one of those mobs takes 45-ish seconds to single target down if you're not efficiently cleaving it, so that is a big time save. But there's going to be a little bit of difference in strategy here. Echo opting to go for the Shackled Soul portal instead of going for the double Bone Mage that Incarnation's going for. So a little bit extra trash for
Echo. Very interesting. That must be just a routing difference that Echo chose to go for. There must be some trash that they can skip maybe later on, and that's why they went to the left. It looked like both of them were dealing with it in a very similar amount of time, as both of the teams are going to be reaching that Portal Guardian platform at the exact same second, and both of them engaging that trash pull now. Echo actually using some CC here before they gather the trash, so they CC'd both of the mages, and now they're dropping that Ashen, while Incarnation is holding on to their Ashen on their side.
They held the Ashen, but still got through the pull first. They didn't pull 2 of the mages, so definitely a more safe option. But remember, they have the extra trash percentage from earlier, so that's not going to be an issue for them. They don't have to worry about killing those two. And Incarnation, it just looks like they're in the lead. More trash percentage, getting to the next platform before Echo, and they also still have the Ashen available, which Echo don't. They're just, I mean, they're flat out in the lead right now.
Yeah, they definitely are. As they're gathering those mages now on top of that Bone Reaver, they need to make sure that they have all of that AoE interrupt available. Looks like they're doing a really good job. And they also have that Prot Paladin just helping out with those interrupts. It's just so good having all of those interrupts for these mages because they have so many dangerous casts, the Bone Spears, that if they go off, it very easily can one-shot that person. So now they're gathering up those last two Bone Mages as well. It looked like they didn't just quite manage to get them into the initial pull because they were maybe out of interrupts, but Echo looked like they were able to do so. So Echo caught up a little bit because they got all of the mages into the pull immediately.
Yeah, slight inefficiency for Incarnation. I think it was just a safety play opting to not pull those two mages in right away. That's one of the few ways you can wipe in this dungeon just due to missing interrupts. So just a safety play. They also might not have had enough purges to get rid of all the shields right away. Don't quote me on that.
Yeah.
That might be another reason. So just other possibilities out there. But because of the way that pull was designed for Incarnation, both teams are now neck and neck in progression. They're on the same platform, they're killing the same trash pack. Echo is ever so slightly ahead in terms of DPS, but again, Incarnation has a slight extra trash advantage. So very, very close, but I'd say very slight advantage for Incarnation currently.
Yeah, very interesting because Yumi is still holding on to that Ashen. He's been holding on to this for quite a long time. There must be some pull that they intend on using it, or they just want to commit it to the boss because, of course, it is tyrannical and having that extra damage really means a lot. Whilst Alia is not having the Ashen on Echo's side. So they still also have a lot of shackled souls left for Echo to pull. So that means that's probably going to slow them down a little bit because Incarnation can just fully DPS the boss without having to worry about any of those shackled souls whatsoever. They already dealt with all of them. As Echo is slowly pulling them in, they're actually pulling a lot of them all at once. This is pretty scary because you have the boss doing so much damage to the group, and then on top of that you have 5 shackled souls you have to deal with as well.
Well, it actually looks like Echo is just not focusing the Shackled Souls whatsoever. They're just dying to purely passive cleave, and one of the benefits of this is that they're getting a ton of focused single target funnel on the sub-rogue. Look at Fragments on the meters there. He is completely pumping right now. Most of that is single target damage. They're getting so much funnel that they're keeping up on boss damage with Incarnation, and Zalia didn't have Ashen Hollow. That is wild.
Yeah, that actually really caught them up quite a bit. They're still behind though, as Incarnation with that Ashen just making up quite a lot of time. That means though that Echo, if they decide to do a big pull after this and commit the Ashen there, then they might be dealing with that pull quicker than Incarnation again, right? So there's definitely a back and forth between those two teams. And Echo seemingly caught up on trash a little bit as well, because keep in mind, after the first boss, they were 5% behind because they didn't pull those 3 casters at the start of the dungeon. Well, Incarnation did, and now they're only 1% behind. So they did pull some extra trash throughout this wing, and they also went to the left side instead of the right, going to this to the Shackled Souls instead of the Bone Mages, and get a little bit of extra count there as well. Now it looks like Incarnation is finishing off the boss a couple of seconds earlier though, but Echo definitely not far behind.
And I mean, look at the strength of the Arms Warrior there. Just absolutely cranking the single target damage. And they didn't pull any Shackled Souls, right? That is pure single target blast coming out from Cryptics there on the Arms Warrior. Love to see that. But yeah, Echo keeping themselves in this by abusing the funnel from the Subtlety Rogue. I love seeing the different advantages that the teams gain from their comp differences, but this is going to be an area where Echo will have a lot more stability. Incarnation only has the wings from Growl on the Holy Paladin there, whereas Echo has the Ashen Wings combo available, and that'll help them blast down this pull and also keep them alive with passive healing from that Ashen Hollow.
Yeah, that's just a crazy pull that both of the teams are doing just there. You can see all of those mobs just need to be interrupted. So many dangerous casts. If they go off, it's either going to mean a full wipe, or everyone is going to have a huge disadvantage because they have that damage reduction on everybody. Looks like Incarnation is executing it pretty well, even though they didn't have that Ashen available from the Holy Paladin. But Echo, because of that Ashen, they were done with it just a couple of seconds quicker. You can see just how close it is between those two teams as both of them are heading towards that gourd shop area.
I mean, this is what we live for in the MDI. Competition of two teams at the top of their game playing perfectly, being at the same point in the dungeon, neck and neck. Who's gonna budge first? There are so many areas for mistakes to happen here, but we're differing again. We're differing slightly. Incarnation going for the invisibility past these mobs. Yes, those mobs spawn from the walls, but they're not going to worry about them. They're just going to go on ahead and pull these two mobs on top of the boss. Whereas Echo is going for the big AoE pull, but this is so scary. They don't have the Ashen or the Wings available from Xaylia. It's going to be all down to personals plus just whatever passive healing Xaylia can throw out here to deal with these mobs. Everything is dropping so incredibly low and now has no more resets for that Necrotic. He's going to have to kite it out. And with Gingy going down, one of their main AoE damage dealers is down for this pull. It's down to fragments and clicks to finish off this pack, and they're just going to be able to do it. But man, that was scary, and they used a lot there.
At the very start, they had a cast go off, and everyone had that 20% damage reduction plus healing reduction on them. They managed to use a lot of those defensives to get rid of it. They used Cloak of Shadows, Bubble, Turtle to get rid of it, but then Gingy went down after all. They lost a little bit of time there, but they are now ahead in trash percentage, of course, because Incarnation decided to skip that trash. They only dealt with the Butcher and the Horror that Echo also pulled into this boss. So Echo are going to be able to skip some trash after this boss. Incarnation has to do a little bit more, but you can see they're obviously ahead on the boss now. They also are committing the Ashen onto the boss, while Echo had to commit the Ashen onto this trash fall before.
I mean, the blows are just being exchanged left and right. It's a give and take here, right? Incarnation not going for the trash, but giving themselves a 30% advantage on the boss, on a tyrannical boss. That's a lot. It's just going to come down to a question of whether or not the Sub-Rogue versus the Arms Warrior here is going to help Echo catch up. Again, you can get a little bit of that funnel here off of those leftovers spawning during this boss, letting the Sub-Rogue do single target blast. But looks like the Monk and the Hunter are kind of taking that AoE pie away from him. They're not really letting him blast so much, and Incarnation is just catapulting themselves ahead. When I started what I was saying here, they were 30% ahead on the boss. They're now 40% ahead on the boss and have Gourd Chop dead.
Yeah, and they're done. They're on their way to the last wing, the Xav wing that they still have to do. They still need that 35% trash. Keep in mind, they still have 5% trash left at the very start of the dungeon. So that's something they can still do after. They can maybe even do it with Mordretha, with the last boss at the same time. That would be really, really efficient, because then they're just passively going to cleave it down. If Dorky can survive it, of course, having that Prot Warrior means that you're going to have a little bit more boss DPS on Mordretha, because you can spell reflect that tank mechanic that she's casting onto the tank. So that's going to be a little bit of an advantage for Echo, but a Dorky on that Paladin is going to have all of those interrupts and is going to be able to tank all of those assets they still have left there. Now they're pulling all of these Arbalists into that first mini-boss, and they're really blasting this. Look at the damage coming out of the Arms Warrior.
Yeah, I mean, short work of those mobs. There is still an Arbalist alive. They're going to want to finish that off before they decide to go pull any more, but this is the big strength of that Arms Warrior, pulling two of the mini-bosses together, allowing Cryptics to just fully abuse that Sweeping Strike's cleave. They are kind of pulling it late, so I wonder if this was just kind of like a safety thing for them, because usually when you see teams pull these two together, it's, you know, when the mobs have higher health, so you can really take advantage of this, the full two-target cleave, but just playing it safe there, finishing off the first one before they really start working on Harugia here.
Look at Echo, actually. Gingy immediately went and pulled Haruja while everyone else was fighting the first mini-boss and the trash pack. This is what they held their Ashen for. Because they didn't use it on Gourd Chop, Xaylia had it back up for this pull, and this is a pretty efficient one as they deal with two mini-bosses and that trash at the same time. And look at how fast they're dealing with this. But Incarnation, they're pulling Haruja on top of Rek, the third mini-boss, with the middle pack. The only captain being CC'd there in the middle of the bridge. That's so much trash that they're getting done here on Incarnation's side.
Is this enough trash to finish off their trash count? I believe this will get them to 100%.
I think so.
Or it'll get them to like 98%, and they can finish off the captain for the rest of their trash count. That was so efficient and so quick from Incarnation, pulling Haruja in over to Rek right away with the pack on the bridge as well. Just so quick. Echo still has the last mini-boss to deal with, and Incarnation is already on Xav.
They have 95% trash. I'm not sure if they have to deal with any of this. Looks like Gingy's just going to pull it to the left side. They're going to go past this. Echo is done with trash as well. Incarnation, though, already on Xav. they're up to 98%. They only have this 2% left that they're going to be getting from either the captain or the trash that they still have left at the start of the entrance. They can pick and choose whatever they want to do to get the last percent. It's definitely going to be efficient for them. Now, Echo did manage to reach Xav as well, and Incarnation committed their Bloodlust for this. You can see their Bloodlust is on cooldown now. They used it, even though the Ashen wasn't just back up yet for Yuumi. So we'll see if he's going to be popping it in just a second while the last is still running. And there we go. Yuumi Growl is committing the last and the wings there, while Echo is holding on to the last. The Ashen still being down for Zalia. And you can see Incarnation really pulling ahead on that boss, as they also pulled it a couple of seconds earlier. And that 20% that they're ahead on that Tyrannical Xav fight, that means quite a lot.
I mean, the gap's going to open up even more because we have to wait for Echo's duel to be finished. They're probably going to open that gap up to about 30 seconds by the time Clix and Gingy get back up here. And yeah, look at that. I mean, 25% now. It's going to keep going up. And I think it makes sense for them to pop their Bloodlust here, right? They don't have to pull the trash on top of Mordretha like Echo does. And on top of that, popping your Bloodlust here affords you the damage to actually skip the second duel. One of the biggest pain points in this dungeon for a lot of the teams in Theater of Pain has been having to deal with Soggodon the Breaker just looming down there when players are sent down for a duel. There's so many times where people have been sent down for a duel and accidentally engaged Soggodon, which pretty much just instantly results in a team wipe if you don't have a Shadow Meld or Combat Drop available to get him out of combat with you. So skipping the second duel is such a clutch reaction there by using the Bloodlust, and it's just a big safety play, and I love it a lot. But this dungeon is pretty much going to come down to how fast Echo is going to be able to deal with the AoE, and also how they're going to be able to use that AoE to funnel single target out of fragments here. Because, I mean, looking at the way the dungeon is right now, both teams are just now getting up to Mordretha, and it's just going to be a DPS race. Incarnation does have the advantage, however, of having somebody who has already spawned Mordretha, whereas Echo is just finishing off Xav and doesn't really have anything to do while the RP is starting. So Incarnation is going to pull Mordretha here about 20 seconds before Echo.
Yeah, all eyes on Incarnation. They don't have the Ashen, they don't have the Bloodlust, but they're pulling the boss so much earlier. That should be enough. Gonna be hard for Echo to make up that time, even though they do have those offensive cooldowns available. And you can see Incarnation is just blasting the boss. Cryptic's doing so much damage here, even without those, without that Bloodlust available. And you can see the boss is just dropping and dropping. They have the three Tormentor debuffs, no, two, sorry. They have the physical damage increase and the 50% slow, which can be a bit unlucky if that portal spawns close to you, but it looks like they're just fine.
But watch out, here comes Echo. Mordretha has been engaged, the Bloodlust is popped, the Ashen Hollow is down, the funnel is coming out from the Hunters and Rogues, and look at them chew into that 30% boss health advantage that Incarnation had, already down to just 12 or 13%. I mean, Echo is hot on their heels, down below 5% now. It's going to come down to just a pure DPS race now as both teams are entering that 50% transition at the exact same time, and Echo is actually now even pulled ahead. Absolutely nuts. But does Incarnation have the damage coming up? Are their cooldowns coming back up? The True Shot just now popped for Yoda, and they'll now catapult themselves ahead as well. This is just neck and neck, Nagura.
This is so incredibly close, and you have to keep in mind there's 5 seconds death penalty on the side of Echo because Gingy had died earlier. So Cryptix goes down too, never mind me, there's no death differential anymore. Now it's all down to the timer, both having the same amount of death penalties, so the time's completely even. And you can see Echo actually pulling ahead at this point because of the death of Incarnation, and Mordretha is just dropping and dropping for Echo. It seems like they're gonna be the ones pulling it off. There we go, Mordretha going down. It actually is Echo clutching it out at the very end. Wow.
Oh my goodness. Just look at how tight the competition is between these two teams. That one death on the side of Incarnation, and Echo just absolutely shreds through Mordretha. You could really see just the incredible amount of damage that those Prot warriors are able to deal to that last boss.